Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to today's live lettering session class. It's a bit of a class workshop. It's going to be some hands-on stuff, but whatever you want to call it, welcome to it. Hi. Nice to have you here. It is a lovely day in January, if I do say so. It's oddly warm after the terrible cold we've been experiencing. I hope you all are having a spectacular Friday. We are going to be covering lettering the alphabet today, but not just any alphabet. We're going to be playing around with some different styles, and I'm going to be showing you how to practice and sort of build your own personal reference library for different lettering styles. So it's going to be a really lovely, fun class. Anna's going to be very hands-on. So you are going to be in for a nice ride here where we are just going to really dive right on in. Once we just take just like a couple of minutes for people to get in, get settled, hang out. I see we have Linda, Jennifer, Carmel, hello. I believe I saw, yes, Cindy, I think, oh, Teresa or Teresa. Let me know if I'm gonna default to Teresa unless told otherwise. Brenda Lee, great to have you as always. All right, got a nice classroom of folks here. This is going to be really fun, really hands-on. It's so nice to get to just really like roll up your sleeves and get into making stuff with your hands, and it's fun practice. So first and foremost, we are going to be jumping in with just good old-fashioned regular drills. So we're going to be getting into that here in just a moment. Now, I have a variety of lettering equipment here. I have a variety of different pens. I have monoline markers, monoline pens. I have a variety of different brush pens. I have not crayons, Crayola markers in a couple of different sizes. I have parallel pens or flat nib pens. And I also have one fountain pen hanging out with me, and a pencil, a ruler. Obviously, I have this light board. Hold on, make it as bright as possible. There we go. And I might be using my laser level as well. We'll see. We're going to be playing a lot of it by ear. So we have a lot of options here, and I want you to feel comfortable using whatever it is that you're wanting to practice with. So if you're working on your brush lettering, by all means, use brush pens. We're going to be doing things that you can adapt to whatever. So if you are wanting to play around with your flat nib or with Crayola, the world is your oyster, and we have plenty of options. This is just going to be essentially, we're going to be talking about how to practice a style. So whatever that style is, we're going to be going through the alphabet and building out a style for ourselves, and hopefully be walking away with a much better idea of how that style exists in the entire alphabet and creating something of a reference library for yourself. And I'm not just talking about like a mental library, by the way. I'm talking about like actually learning how to build your own alphabet sort of reference sheet. So that's going to be a really great thing to know, to just have on hand. So I hope you are ready to jump in. So let's go ahead and begin with some good old-fashioned drills. I'm going to flip to my overhead camera here, and we are going to be doing this the way that I enjoy, which is by putting the sheet here and then putting let's see, I have a bunch of stuff on the other side of this. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to practice so well on this. So I like to, when possible, I like to use the backs of papers for drills and warm-ups and such. So that is something that I definitely recommend just for saving paper. It's a great way to warm up and just use the scraps that you have. I am going to go ahead and just keep this to the side and turn this off. And I'm just going to let her sort of straight without worrying about that. So let's go ahead and do this. I am going to let's go ahead and start off with a Crayola marker. Let me double check that this one's still juicy. Yes. All right. So I have myself my Crayola marker. Use whatever it is that you're wanting to use. Don't forget to sit properly. This is also a reminder for myself. Hey there, Luana. And hey there, Bobby. Hold on, I'm fighting something under the desk. Trying to get my feet situated. There we go. All right, don't forget to sit properly with your knees nice and like bent at a normal 90-degree angle in front of you. A little blurry. That might be, I was messing with the camera earlier. Here, let me snap it into autofocus real quick. That usually does the trick. Thanks for letting me know, Teresa. And, all right. So, sit upright. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Don't let them bunch up around your ears. Keep your hand able to glide, so don't plant your weight. And begin the drills. So, try your best to just be smooth and consistent. Doing these downstrokes first. Helps sometimes to kick the elbow out a little bit. Sometimes my elbow likes to kind of tuck in closer to the center of my body, but I find that I perform better when my elbow is a little bit more like out, a little bit more held up. It feels fancier, or like I'm kind of picturing someone who's playing like the violin or something. Like they don't want their arm down here. They want their arm to be nice and up. So that's kind of what I'm picturing in my head whenever I put that arm up. Try to keep it from getting too tight against your body. All right. I might not have perfect lines here, but oh wait, hold on. I forget. I have a laser level for this. Okay. So it's not going to be perfect, but let me move these out of the way. And these. Scooch this up just a little bit. Still looking blurry to you? That might be the signal in that case, because the footage looks crisp to me, but sometimes the signal, if it's not super strong, can come across a little bit blurry. But you'll be happy to know that we have figured out how to record these live sessions in a way that we are capturing it at the full quality, so that whenever we edit and put it back out, back in the Foxsy library, we are able to make sure that it is nice and crisp and not getting fuzzed out by the signal the day that we shoot. You know what I mean? Okay, interesting. That marker doesn't really want to play ball on the upstrokes. That's fine. Switch. I'm going to switch to this Pilot water. I don't know. I don't use it that often, but let's see. It very well might be my internet and not your fault, like your internet's fault. Ooh, this is harder with thin lines. I'm gonna move to something else. I'm not feeling that. Here we go. Nice Tombow brush pen. with a really nice light sort of seafoam green. Feeling a little shaky at first, but the more we do this, the more confidence in the stroke, the more we shake that rust off. Yeah, it's looking like the internet might be a little shaky here today. Unfortunately, that happens sometimes in this building. Yeah, that's a little light. I'm going to go ahead and switch once again, keeping it fresh here. There we go. It's like I'm playing pen roulette. Ooh, juicy pen. Okay, coming along. We're getting some motion going now. All right, final row. And then let's pull out the worksheets. All right. So, where did I put the lid? There we go. Let's set that off to the side. You are absolutely welcome to continue working on drills, but I want to just show you something really quick. So, one of the things that I hate doing is drawing lines over and over and over and over again when it comes to like the base lines, the lines that we're going to use for the practice for lettering. So, if you have a Rodea dot grid practice pad, or you have some other kind of like dot grid, square grid, lined paper that you feel comfortable with, that you can kind of like measure how tall everything is and it's all kind of nice and straight, then disregard what I'm about to say. But if you are like me and you have blank paper, this isn't blank, but just regular paper, and you're practicing with that, this is premium HP printer paper, then you need lines, you need something to work with. So what I've done is I've created this really simple, super simple practice sheet here, where all I did was I just took my ruler and made sure that it was even and not like wonky or anything like that. And I just took a pencil and drew it. I just traced the ruler. Basically, I just made sure that I was doing both sides, and then giving it a little bit of a gap, and then doing both sides again. But if you don't have a light box, then this might not be very useful to you, because the way that I use this is I turn on my light box, set this over it, and then with a blank piece of paper, come on now, there we go. With a blank piece of paper, I'm able to put my paper over top. I can see the lines, and then I can seamlessly letter directly over top and not have to draw the lines every time. But if you don't have a light box, if that's not an option for you, then a simple way to kind of get around that and not have to, draw lines every single time, like a huge pain in the butt, is do it on one piece of paper, like so, and then you can use it as a template to essentially go in and mark where all of these lines are on the new piece of paper. And then you come and do that again on the other side. Making sure that you got the paper nice and lined up, that you have. This means that you just don't have to like do the stopping and the tracing every single time, because that's a pain in the butt. And if you really want to, you could just get a piece of cardstock or something and cut like a bookmark, basically, like a long skinny with the lines on it, so you can use that as a template. But now that we've gone and we've marked all of these different lines, then it's really super easy to come in and do it again. Or you could do what Linda does and get yourself a parallel roller tool, which is something that I had seen before, but I hadn't really ever thought about it until Linda mentioned it earlier today during the lettering Q&A, that she has one, and I went and looked it up, and they look super rad. Basically, it's a straight edge with different ways of measuring, but it's got like two little wheels, kind of like a vacuum, how a vacuum rolls around. And then you can easily just kind of roll it down the page and keep it perfectly parallel, and very quickly get a bunch of different lines. But I don't have one yet, so I can't vouch for exactly how it works or how much I like it. But yeah, it looks extremely useful, in Linda. I believe in Linda when she says that it's excellent. Oh, you got one too at a yard sale, Brenda Lee. That's awesome. I love the kind of random stuff that you can get from rummage sales like that. Anywho, so that's how you can pretty quickly create a bunch of these lined pages. Of course, there is, now that I'm thinking about it, I do believe there are lined pages like this, but without without that stuff on it, that you can print out from the library. But to be honest, a lot of the stuff that I've designed over the years, some of it's over on Little Coffee Fox in the Little Coffee Fox resource library, and some of it is available to Foxsy students, but it hasn't all been brought over yet. So that's why I hesitate sometimes whenever I don't know if I've made it accessible to you all yet, but I can absolutely put something together so that you can easily print out a bunch of these and have them ready to go. But for now, we're going to just draw out these lines and roll with it. Okay. So, moving along, there are a lot of different styles of lettering out there. So, I have here, I don't know where A went off to, but I have here 25 of the 26 letters of the alphabet with 50 different ways to letter them. Now, this is a project I put together with Little Coffee Fox several years ago, but it's not something that I ever really promoted all that much for some reason because it's it's a really great resource. So every single one of these has a variety of different ways to letter that letter. So there's lots to play with, lots of different options, and my skill has only grown since then. But this is a great resource that was made available in the emails leading up to this class and will be in the replay email as well. But there's lots of different styles in here to choose from. So one thing that you can do if you're wanting to really practice the alphabet, really, you don't want to do like this where you're doing B, 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 then C, 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 C. You want to do the alphabet in one style. Let's go ahead and look at how we would do that. So, looking at this, Savannah can pop it into the chat. And yeah, Savannah, are you seeing the blur on your end as well? I would love to know. I definitely want to hunt this down. But going through here, you can pick one of the styles, and there's a variety of styles. There's monoline, there's brush lettering, there's lots of different lines going on in the worksheet here. Dang, all right, lots of people are saying that it's blurry. Give me just one moment. Let me do a few things here to see if I can help improve the signal. Okay. And one more moment. Let me try something else. Okay. That's probably about as much as I can do from my end. I apologize for the blur, my friends. That's not ideal. Let me take a quick drink of water while we're working on that. But why don't we go ahead and just do one really simple alphabet run while we're kind of having this little bit of struggle, because we don't need to go into fancy territory. We can keep it nice and simple to begin with. Okay, so I'm going to rotate this a little bit. And Savannah just popped the link to this set of worksheets in the chat, so you can go grab those right now. I wouldn't recommend trying to print them all off right this moment because it's 26 pages, which might take a while, but you might want to print off a couple of letters right here at this moment. You might maybe want to grab your initials. For me, it would be S and A. For you, it might be, any other combination. I don't know where I was going with that, but you can grab just a few for now, so you can just get a look at some of the styles and let that be an inspiration to you. But quickly just jumping in, just getting started, let's go ahead and just do a little bit of alphabet practice. So I'm going to grab, actually, I'm going to share a little bit of what I've been working on, this parallel pen calligraphy stuff. So I am going to go and simply do the lowercase alphabet. We're not going to try to do the capitals right now, just the lowercase alphabet to do a little bit of practice. So whatever, well, I said let's go simple. Let's not make it a challenge, Shelby. Come on. All right, let's do something. Let's familiar territory here. All right. So just getting started, we're going to just do lowercase alphabet and just jumping straight in. But one thing that you are going to want is to have a general note of where your X height is, essentially. So if you're familiar with Hand Lettering 101, we talk about the baseline, the ascender, the descender, and the X height. And one of those is that we just kind of have very plain. We don't really have all of those lines here. So we have those lines in our head. And that's something that once you get a little bit of practice in it, you just want to know, you don't need those lines all the time to know exactly how to work with them. So you just need to know what rules you're setting for your alphabet. For example, I am going to put my X height somewhere around the, let's say like the halfway or a little bit above the halfway mark of each one of these lines. So I'm going to bring this in a little bit. Let me grab a piece of paper, letter over top. I'm almost started lettering on this page. I will go ahead and letter on this page for now, since I have a duplicate. So I'm just going to start with good old-fashioned brush lettering, and I'm just going to pick my X height. Right there. So now I have chosen my X height to be right about 2/3 of the way up in this designated line. So knowing that, I want to remain consistent with that X height. So that means the next letter I'm bringing the B, the curve of the B up to that X height. Same with the C. I truly cannot do the alphabet without having to kind of sing it in my head a little bit. Now, the further you get away from that little line, you're going to have to mind where that line is. And if you find that you're not quite, like if you start to deviate a little bit, if the size of your X height or something starts to deviate a little bit, like I'm looking at that E and I'm thinking maybe it's a little lower than the C, that's quite okay. Just try to, don't abruptly change everything. Try to make it sort of a gradual, like gradually bring yourself back to where you think you should be. So A, B, C, D, E. F. Same with my descender line. I'm just bringing it down to the top of the next row. H, I. And whenever you make a decision about a style, you want to make sure to continue that decision. So, for example, you can see that my descenders so far all have a sort of the same shape. They're all nice and simple. And that's the kind of thing that designates it as a style. That's what makes this alphabet this style, is that kind of those consistent themes that we see through. J, Same with, for example, I'm not doing sort of loop-de lines for the ascenders here, like the H's and the L's. I'm not doing loop-de-doos. Those are the technical terms. I'm keeping it quite simple, nice straight lines. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next row. And now we have to make decisions on things like the R. What are we going to do for that? I'm going to go for a nice simple one. URST. W. And then we have, of course, X. Y, and Z. Okay, now we've done all of the lowercase letters. Let's try to create a capital set that goes along with this style. So I'm just going to continue straight on. I'm not going to break lines or anything. It looks like Savannah may have fixed the blur issue. Thank you, Savannah. So we're kind of trying to keep with that little bit more minimalist style here. You want to try to keep like the size of all of your letters the same, both in terms of the height, but also in terms of the general space that they take up width-wise. So for example, this E, when I first did it, was just a little bit narrower, and I went and just kind of extended these prongs just a smidge to make it feel like it's the same general width. It doesn't need to be exact, but you don't want it to look strikingly different. Moving on to H. Now, M and N both have a lot of really nice variations in how they can present. So, let me pull this out here. I love M and N because they have so much potential. So you can do like these softer shapes that are like humped. You can have there be something more serif and very structured and symmetrical. You can go for something that's just really clean. This always reminds me of the M&M logo. So there's a lot of different ways that you can really play around with it. So I really like to there's a handful of letters that are just a little bit more variable. They can have some more fun. And I like to think of those and use those as a little bit of like the guidelines or the signposts for a letter style. The lowercase r. You can have a lot of variety with the way that you see a lowercase r. It's the same kind of thing. Those specific letters, the way that you letter them is really going to help create that overall feel that you want for an alphabet. Taking a second to readjust my seating and my grip, making sure that I am where I need to be. Savannah, I don't know what you did, but you're magical, apparently. Let me see if I can get them all in this last line here. Woo. And likewise, the W is just the reverse of the M, so you can really have a lot of fun with that one as well. W. Oh, I'm not going to get it all to fit. W. X. And then we have our Z. Okay. So, doing a quick run through of the alphabet like this is a really lovely way to just get yourself acquainted with all of the different letters and all of the different styles, especially if it's a style that you plan on using a lot. So that way you don't have to guess, you don't have to wonder. Whenever you're doing your lettering piece, you can have your choice already made, so you just need to execute. It makes it a lot easier when you're doing things to just remove as many decisions from the moment as possible so that all you have to do is execute, and then maybe you can make some adjustments on the fly. But that way you're not having to think so hard about each and every choice. So I'm going to switch to a different brush pen here. And, I'm going to switch to a different brush pen, but I'm going to do a serif style this time. And this time, let's go ahead and reverse. Let's start with the capital letters and work our way to the lowercase letters, shall we? So, I said serif. I meant sans serif. No, wait. Sorry. We just did sans serif. Let's do script. Let's do a really scripty type of lettering, shall we? So, with that in mind, okay, very first letter, something to note is I have an angle. So if I straighten this out a little bit, my lettering isn't nearly as straight up and down. So there's a little bit of an angle on these letters, but it's very slight, whereas this new letter has much more of a pronounced angle. So that's something that I'm going to want to keep an eye on and try to maintain throughout the entire alphabet. And one thing that you can do, if that's something that you're not sure you can do, like just in your mind, you can grab yourself, like letter your first letter and say, okay, ooh, I like that. That's cool. Grab your ruler and another pencil. Where did a pencil go? Here we go. And then just use your ruler to kind of walk across the page and draw out that same angle over and over again so that you have the guide all the way through your lettering. And once again, that means that you don't have to guess as much. You can spend more time or not more time, but more of your energy and focus on the execution of the letters and not so much on having to maintain the exact angle. Same with having the lines underneath. You don't want to have to be constantly worrying about, is it, are we the same thickness? Are we keeping where we're supposed to be? We're able to put that out of our minds and just letter. All right, so this one I'm doing a little bit more hand. I mean, it's the last alphabet was hand done. It was hand lettered, but this we're going for a little bit more of like a inky, rougher look. Another style marker you want to keep an eye out for is the crossbar. So over here we have the A crossbar. I went with something a little bit more flowy. And then on the F, I didn't really maintain that all the way through. So I'm going to go and kind of edit and just give it a little bit more flow. And then same with the H. I want the H to be nice and flowy so that we're all consistent all the way throughout. H-I. Here, let's go to the I. Let's see what would be a good. I is another one that has some variation, and it could be super simple, or it can have a little bit more flair. Let's take a quick look. So with eyes, not your eyeballs, but I, the letter, you can do the really simple line on top and bottom, and that's definitely an option. But I think for this, I'm going to go for a slightly more. Well, no, let's try that. Let's do that this kind of a style right here with a little bit more of a swooshy top and bottom. Let's give that a shot. There we go. That feels like that matches the energy here. And it's okay that it's a little rough. That's sort of the style that we're going for. Keeping it consistent with the J. Kind of bailed on that first stroke on the top part of the K here, but that's all right. We saved it. There's another choice right there, the little curly Q at the top of the O. So that's a consistency that I'm going to want to maintain. Wow, that S turned out better than I expected. Same with the I and the J. I'm going to make sure that my T has a nice little fancy swoosh at the top. And if at some point you do something that you don't love, like that Z, that capital Z, looks just like a 3 to me, which isn't what I wanted. So I'm going to just do it again. It's not ideal, obviously. We want there to be a nice, clean go through, but that's okay. Just gonna lightly scribble that out. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and begin on the next line. I think we got the right room for it. Let's do lowercase. Now with this, I am creating these connectors. I want there to be a lot more of a script feel. So each letter should have some connection line. In fact, I'm going to try to connect all of the letters. And with these, I'm doing these loop-de tops. I almost forgot the little kickstand for the eye, but we came back. We remembered. We have that O again with that little curly Q. And now we have that R. I'm going to do a big loop on the top of the R. There we have one alphabet all the way through. Now, I'm going to go ahead and slide this off to the side. I know we're nearing 3 o'clock, but let's go ahead and knock out one more alphabet. And I'm going to go through just looking at the M's, and let's pick a style based off of just this. So let's do something different, something that's really interesting. I'm thinking maybe this sort of asymmetrical M right here, or maybe this like really wide, simple line, monoline M. Or we could go monoline. Either way, I think maybe we should go monoline. And we could do just this really simple, like soft squiggles kind of an M. Or, ooh, we could do something like this, this little guy right here. This is a nice mixture between straight, firm lines and then sort of soft, curved lines. So we can really have a lot of fun playing around with that. So let me stick our options on here, and I'm curious what you think. So we have, that's option 1. Option 2. Option 3. And was there an option 4? I don't believe there was. Yeah. All right, tell me what you think of all the styles. Do we think option 1, 2, or 3 right here? We have a vote for number 3, Teresa. Another vote for number 3. All right, without any, Brenda Lee. see you there. All right, we have 3 votes for 3. Teresa, don't worry about it. I saw it. I get it. We have 3 votes for 3. I think that's enough to go ahead and run off with it. So let's do it. And if you go through this whole stack, I did not come up with new styles every single time that I did this because there were so many. So if you go through, you should be able to find the the same styles are on every sheet. So it's just a matter of basically deciding what you think matches that particular style that you're going for. But since they're not in a nice alphabetical order or anything, we are going to guess. Pardon me while I pop my neck obnoxiously. I'm going to switch to this other one. This other color feels like it blends just a little bit better. So let's go ahead and begin. Let's give this a shot. So we're going to go for narrow, and we're keeping it very up and down. And to help me, actually, before I begin, to help me make sure that I'm keeping everything nice and straight and I'm not deviating. So I'm just going to come along with my pencil and lightly mark some nice up and downs. Did they print light for you, Brenda Lee? They should print exactly like this. They're the same files. So definitely a light gray, but should still be quite visible. All right. Let's do it. Remember, for straight lines, you want to move from your elbow, not from your wrist. So I'm wanting to keep these fairly minimalist, but with a nice curve in there. And I want to keep them fairly slender as well. So I gave the E, the spine of the E, a little bit of a curve. I thought that might be interesting. And let's have the F be the same. So I'm basically, with each letter, as much as possible, I'm trying to make sure that there is at least one really good straight line and one sort of interesting curve. And I can't always achieve it. So, like this C and the I are two examples where it's just kind of is what it is. Same with the J. But some of them you can kind of play around a little bit. I just hold on. Realize the K. I want it to match the look of the K. All right, S. What are you going to be, S? Kind of trying to get that sort of illusion or look of a straight line with a sort of not very curvy middle. Okay, I started to do a T. I'm going to bail. Let's do this. Cute. T's like a little umbrella. Didn't love that X. Let's try that again. Maybe that one can be the straight one. Try one more time. Feel free to have fun and play around with it, by the way, especially if you are like kind of you're building your own alphabet and you're not looking at a reference. Just, try different things until it feels right, because I didn't love these two X's, and instead of committing to them, it doesn't matter if I don't get it right. That's okay. So I'm gonna keep trying until it feels like it fits. Y is another really interesting one. You can do a lot with Y. Take a look here. So the question is, do we want to do like a straight, sort of centered Y, or do we want the Y to have the line, the descender coming down off of one side? Hmm. Let's have a nice straight line here. And then for the Z, cool. All right, let's do the lowercase alphabet. Seal this. Well, is this the kind of alphabet that would have a lowercase? Some alphabets are just all caps all the time. Let me go ahead. I'm going to redo this same alphabet in a different color and make some adjustments on the go. So let's give that a shot. So one thing I really liked about the M, the original M, is that the middle part of the M is rather high, which means that the um, kind of like the X height is kind of high. So I'm gonna try to make sure that the this next crop is a little bit closer to that kind of top heavy or bottom heavy, not centered. Carmel, your 1.5-year old granddaughter, well, they have great conversations. Talking with a little kid is the best or the worst. It really depends on what your mood is, but little kids are very interesting conversationalists, and they need the practice. So, I'm much happier with this version of the alphabet. Going and redoing it was a good call. Oh, are you talking about this one, Carmel? Because if it's this one that you're asking about, this is a Tombow dual brush pen. If it's another one, let me know. I'll keep guessing. Ooh, that N. That was cool. So far, the pens that I've used have been the Tombow dual brush pen. I did a little bit of practice in the beginning with a Crayola marker. I've also done some warming up with the Caron Brush Marker Pro. And this pen right here is, oh Lord, in Japanese. I don't remember off the top of my head. If if this is the one, I will take a second and look it up and just look it up in my order history. Or Savannah, if you want to hop into, I think I got it on Amazon. You might be able to find it in our order history. So I liked the S that I did before, but I kind of wanted to be a little bit more sort of slanted. So I'm going to do the slant part of the line first. Okay, let's try that again. Whoa, it went way off there. These X's, man. Okay, there we go. Rather cathartic. But we have a successful run of letters. So basically, at this point, if I wanted to clean this up, because obviously I've been doing some kind of changing some things around, I would go through and mark all of my favorites, my favorite versions of the multiples that I produced, and from there I could then go to a separate sheet and then properly letter out all of the correct styles, and then go from there and have that be kind of my reference alphabet that I use from now on. And the differences are pretty subtle, but if you look at, for example, the P up here and the P right here, you can see that there is a bit of a difference that I kept the closed shape of the P higher on the second one, and I brought it down lower on the first one. So there's small differences. They don't look like much when you're looking at the whole page, but little things like that can go a long way. Or for example, the Q's in this upper one, the first one, I did sort of a smiley face curved line, and in the bottom one, I did a frowny face curved line. But I like the bottom one better. And I like the first S that I did better. These just didn't quite do it for me. The E and the F, I had fun with these. Like I like the curved spines. Okay, so now I've gone and marked them. And at this point, I could, like I said, just copy over my favorite letters to a separate piece of paper. And from there, I can use that as a template for lettering with my light box. I can lay my paper over my template page and then sort of trace my own letters. So that way I have everything nice, consistent, and very clean. Or I don't have to trace it necessarily. I can also hang it up on my wall so that I can see it as like a reference style, and just make sure that whenever I'm lettering with that style, I just check my reference to make sure that I am remaining consistent with that style, if I so choose. But that's one really great way to not only practice different alphabets, play around with different styles, but also compile a style that you like, that you really enjoy, that speaks to you, and then hang it up or keep it in some way so that you can continue to use it. So same with like this was really nice. I had a lot of fun with this one. The first one is, there. It's fine. Doesn't it doesn't make my socks roll up and down or anything, but like it's a good, solid, clean style. But however you decide to approach this kind of exercise, it's just once if you want to letter with a particular style, if you're wanting to really increase that consistency, make your work look more polished, a little bit more professional maybe, then creating your own alphabet reference guides is a really great way to just keep that consistency nice and tight. It kind of is like how animators, when they're animating a movie, let's say a Disney movie, they will have a reference sheet or reference sheets of that character, of their specific design, of the do's and the don'ts, of just having it all right there so that they can check it instead of having to constantly rely on their own memory. So that way, you don't have to use as much RAM and you can put your focus towards the fun stuff and less effort on just trying to hold that alphabet together. You know what I mean? You can put more effort into the composition, maybe, or into the color scheme, or into the medium, whatever you're using. So that is the benefit of practicing with alphabets like this, putting them together, and you can really enjoy it. This one, Carmel? The first one I held up. I think this was the right one. Yeah. So that's this pen, which is the one that I'm not sure about. I think I I want to say this is a pen touch brush pen. Let me just I usually I rely on the pen itself to tell me, but this is all in Japanese. So let me really quick answer that for you. Ooh, let me lean forward. My keyboard is far away. I order so many pens. It's a comical amount of pens. Aha! The Pentel Feud Pentel FUDE brush pen. Yes. So it is a Pentel Feud brush pen. Pentel Feud. Yes, John, thank you very much. And this is a brush pen with bristles. So da, da, da. You can see. Oop, wrong direction. Right here. You can see that the bristles like flare out. So it's an actual brush and it's just full of ink. And that's how it gets that unique texture, because the bristles are a little bit more dry and they're pulling apart. So it's a very nice pen. All right. Before we wrap up for the day, if you have any questions, now is the time to ask them. Otherwise, we're going to close this one out and call it a victory. Whew. Oh, pardon me. It's always a good stretch right after lettering. It's good to make sure that you're moving your arms and your shoulders and your wrists. It's nice. I hope that was interesting for you. I hope that was useful. At the end of the day, practice is your best friend. I mean, you cannot go wrong by practicing. And the more consistently you practice, in terms of like both regularly, but also the more consistent you are in the styles that you're practicing, the more intuitive it will become as you go. So if you decide that you really like a style, you decide that you really want this like sort of scripted style that's slanted and maybe a little like those little loop-de-doos, whatever it might be, creating yourself a reference sheet and then practicing with that reference sheet in mind, you are going to etch those letters, that lettering style, into your brain and make it a million times easier to produce that lettering without needing the reference later on. So it's a really great way to build up your skills, build up your styles, and give you the tools that you need to mix and match your own styles to make something that feels good and right and fun for you. So you can create your own style. And yes, Carmel, I do have a sketch session every day on YouTube, or at least every work day. I don't do Sundays and Mondays. That's my weekend. But every other day, yes, I do little 30-minute sessions every morning. Feel free to come join if you are awake. I don't know what the time situation, the difference is there, but if you're up and about, feel free to come join us. Um, all right, I'm going to go ahead, wrap this up. I went about 30 minutes longer than expected. Go figure. But I appreciate you all hanging out, lettering with me. I hope that this was fun opportunity to get a little bit of lettering back in your system, get it started again if you took a break. If you are wanting to join us tomorrow, don't forget we have a sketch session in the morning, and then we have a drawing class at 11. Right? Yes. Sorry, a drawing class at 11, and it's figure drawing, motion, and action. So we're going to be doing a lot of really active kind of drawings. It's going to be really fun. Um, Feel free to take a second, give us a review on today's class. Again, I don't know what to call this. This is more of like a workshop than it was exactly a class. But either way, please feel free to take a few minutes and review it. Let us know what you think about it, because if you liked this, we can keep doing them and make them a little bit more, I don't know, maybe I could come up with a design like an alphabet and then give it to you and we practice it together or something like that. That might be something that's fun. Let me know if this is something that you enjoy, basically, and if you have any thoughts or suggestions, because we're always down to hear them. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this Midwest goodbye that I'm doing, and I will see you all tomorrow. I hope you have a great rest of your day. If I don't catch you, have a great weekend. Bye.